Hey, glad we meet again. Now, I don't know. I honestly got a kind of a bit of a crippling headache. Um, and I just finished Game of Thrones season two. So here we go. I've been basically just at home, not bedridden, but I've just been at home the last couple of days since I had that small like injury. So I've been doing a lot of homework and a lot of binging. And yeah, I'm actually already like three episodes into season three. Oh, they're both right there. Big yawn. Um, But no, so I'm like three episodes into season three now of Game of Thrones, and I am really liking it for sure. Um, the migraine is Loki hit me a little bit, but I didn't really want to yap too much about Game of Thrones. I was kind of glazing it the last time I talked about it, and I'm still gonna glaze it. I think it's really good. I actually think that season two, like towards the end of season two, is so strong. I would honestly give this season easily an 8 out of 10, maybe even bump it up to an 8.5. I really like it. It's really good. I don't think it's the best thing ever. I have a couple of like complaints, and none of them are like complaints about like none of them are necessarily complaints that I think the show is doing particularly wrong. It's just specifically like I feel maybe the writing per se isn't as strong as I would have thunk it would be for this like these specific characters or something. Anyway, but big positives out of the way. Yeah, I give the season about an 8.5 out of 10. That's probably what I would rate it. I do think it's really strong. I think it's really solid. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. And I figured because there's 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, I would probably just give my like brief general thoughts on the season as a whole. Then I can maybe talk about one or two favorite characters and one or two least favorite characters and just things I didn't like. Kind of keep my own thoughts organized. But I just kind of wanted to yap a little bit because wild ride. It's hard not really like my partner isn't really watching Game of Thrones. And so I don't really have a ton of people to talk about it with, and so this is just kind of my outlet for that, right? So I'm gonna make you sit and listen. So essentially, Game of Thrones, season two. I'm gonna be so real because it all kind of, obviously it's based off of books, and it all does kind of play out like a book. I don't remember exactly what happened at the start of season two. Couldn't tell you to be honest. But what I will say is the overarching plot of this specific season, right? And again, the seasons bleed into one another, so it's not necessarily that one like they don't have season long plots. It's just events that happen per season. The main event that happened this season was the murdering of Renly Baratheon by his brother Stannis, and then Stannis trying to overthrow King's Landing and take the throne for himself. That was this season. For the most part, that was most of what happened in this season, and then a lot of stuff that kind of plays around that. Robb got married in this season, which I understand. I'm not a huge fan of his slight shift in character where he became a little more. I love that he has that like relationship now. I love that he got married. I really like who he married. I think that they have a really good dynamic, and I really enjoy that. But I don't necessarily like the derailing of the plan to overthrow the Lannisters. Like last season, he was kind of becoming this massive war general, and then he kind of takes a step back and gets married, and I really like that. But I just feel like it was one of the big positives. I think I said in my last video was specifically that I really loved that he was kind of growing into that role, and I feel like he's slowly kind of falling out of that role maybe a little bit. And it looks like he had really like he rallied a lot of people, and it looks like there's some discontent now within the people that he was able to rally, given the conditions that they're in. And then again, he made that priority to get married rather than continue to be a general with all these people backing him, right? So I think that's an interesting, thing that they're going to explore more this season. They've already kind of done that a little bit or hinted at it. I do really like who he married, though. I think that's really. I think they have really good kind of character. What's it called? Balance. I don't know, but I think they kind of round each other out pretty well. Um, what else? What else? So the thing I really liked, obviously, was the siege of King's Landing, basically at the towards the end of season two. I thought that was done really, really well. I really enjoyed it. I think. Um, I think Cersei, if I remember her name right, I think that she is such an interesting character. She is so unbelievably awful and vicious and kind of vile, but like part of me also feels bad. Like she said and done some horrible things so far. I don't like her, but based on which she, in some of these monologues and more of these like more intimate scenes that we get with her in season 2, I really like I everyone sucks, but everything that's happened to everybody makes them suck, right? Like they don't like the only the one character that I will say that I hate, my most hated character this season for sure was Theon. Oh my god, bro, betraying his brother, which I understand they didn't really treat him the best, but betraying his brother to go to Winterfell to take the castle to basically give a middle finger to the Starks, prove himself, say like he's a little too hungry, so he wanted to conquer Winterfell so that his dad now would see him and he'd get the respect of the people he was underneath. Oh, sorry, the people he was overseeing and all that. But I just, man, fuck Theon. What a bitch. What a bitch. Like right now he's being tortured. And like I hate to see that, but also like what an awful dude. What he was just a douche the first time he was on screen. Like he's just horrible to women, and then he kills or is a part of the process that kills the Meister, and then I don't remember what that dude with the beard braid chin strap. I don't remember his name or exactly his relation. I just know that he was a big, everyone loved him, and he killed him. So fuck Theon. Fuck Theon. He's just awful. Another I think maybe my biggest complaint for this season, and this really surprised me. And again, it could be because of prior expectations based on what I've seen on TikTok, which is very limited information. Daenerys is actually my low point for the show so far. And not because I don't sympathize with her as a character, and not because I don't really understand where she's coming from, but it feels really flat. Like I feel like a lot of these characters, for the most part, have pretty complex, like, reasons for why they do what they do, and to me, Daenerys as a character feels extremely flat. And it's frustrating. Like for example, what do they call it? The Red something, like the Red Valley or whatever, that she and her. Oh my, there are so many names I don't remember. But basically, the Dothraki, like her and her Dothraki people, like Khaleesi, her being the queen, right? So essentially, they're starving. She sends off some people. One of them dies from the other Dothraki people killing them because they just don't respect her anymore, and after having abandoned them. And then again, if you haven't seen the show, you're not gonna I can't help you. Essentially, but so she goes to the city called Karth, and she just openly advertises that she has 3 dragons. I'm like, what? Dragons haven't been seen in hundreds of years. And she's like, yeah, I have 3 baby dragons that are the size of like a small cat. So you better let me in, and you better support me with ships and stuff, because otherwise I'm gonna burn it down with my three baby dragons, my 3 dragons that I have, because I'm the mother of dragons. I have 3. I don't know. To me, that just the way I feel like them having dragons is supposed to be this mass. It's supposed. I feel like it's supposed to be like really integral to the story, and also really important and surprising that it happens, because they've been extinct for so long, for like hundreds of years at this point. And in my head, I'm like, why would you openly advertise that you have dragons? Let's assume that King Joffrey got word across the sea in Westeros that Daenerys Targaryen, the daughter of the quote-unquote Mad King, is not only planning to come back to Westeros and retake the throne, has baby dragons. You don't think that people won't betray you, that people won't try to like take advantage of the fact that you're out this gate? They could have just let you start. They could have killed you right then and there. And out of the kindness of their hearts, they didn't. But like, so dumb. Like, that's so dumb that they're just blatantly advertising that they have dragons. Like, to me, come on. Like, come on. Like, that just didn't make sense. Pardon? Yawn break. Pardon, I don't know. So, that to me was probably the most frustrating part of the season, was just her character. I think that, like, her motivation seems flat to me. And again, I can understand that she came from really shit-ass circumstances. Like, oh my god, fuck her brother, and just fuck everybody, honestly. They're all horrible to her. So I can understand why, like, like she's like, oh, I just want to retake the throne and go back to my people. And it's like, you were a baby when the king got overthrown, dude. Like, what people? Like, they don't know who you are. Like, they're not gonna rally behind you. It's the last 20 years of their kingdom has been in peril, you know? You don't, like, the only reason she has this motivation is because her brother is the one who like gave her this motivation. You know what I mean? Like that's the only reason. Like I don't know why she wants to go back to Westeros. It feels like to me that that's just such a everyone just wants the throne, you know? And like obviously I get it. It's horrible. Everyone's horrible to each other. There's so much corruption. The only way you have a chance of making your own decisions, keeping your own family safe, is if you sit on that throne. I absolutely understand that, but to me, it seems like her specific motivation is kind of lame. And it's crazy. This is my biggest complaint. And I'm harping on it so much, but like I feel like this is huge. Like she's supposed to be the mother of like you know what I mean? Like you would assume. Maybe maybe I'm just being too harsh. And again, maybe it's just my expectations are maybe a little bit higher than what I was expecting because of the random clips I've seen of her on TikTok being a badass, you know, and I'm just sitting here and I'm like, bro, she's just complaining the whole time. I hate Theon, also just a complaining like loser the whole time, betraying his family, or I mean his motivation. I don't particularly disagree with the anger and frustration that he's feeling, but I think what he's doing is fucked up. He was like he's like, I'm gonna honor you, brother. I'm gonna go up, try to get some troops for us to fight alongside so we can finally get rid of the Lannisters. And then his dad was like, no, you're an awful kid, you're a son, and now you're back to me and you look like a bitch. And he's like, well, I don't want to be a bitch anymore. You left me and now I'm gonna betray the other family that I have so that I can make you happy. But I mean, like, part of me gets it, but also like, bro, fuck you. What else? What else is like major? Sad Renly died. I kind of liked him. He was fun. He was an interesting dude. I love Tyrion. I continue to love Tyrion. He might be one of the best characters on screen. Um, and he was putting up numbers during that fight. He was putting up numbers during that siege. Oh, the siege was cool. The siege was done pretty well. I mean, there's so much that happens in this show. I'm just like, I don't know. The migraine's also not helping me think any clearer. So I'm just kind of all over the place. So my apologies. But I think I still hate Joffrey. What a fucking bitch. Pardon my language, but oh my god. He's just still awful. I still continue to miss Ned. I loved Ned. I hate Jaime. I'm gonna say maybe my biggest complaint of the show so far is that some of the writing feels a little inconsistent. I feel like in some ways they've now established a core cast of characters, right? And it's a big one. Don't get me wrong. I couldn't sit here and just like huck out all these names left and right, you know. But they've established a core cast of characters. And now it feels like that they've established this cast of characters. It feels almost like they're now protected by writing, contrary to what the first season set up. So I think the first season set up that no one truly is safe. Everyone is trying to betray everybody, and the better you get at the game and manipulation, and the more selfish you get, basically, the more likely you're gonna survive, right? Within the universe, it makes sense to me that the people who are kings and queens or belong to these higher families are on the board for longer. They're either better at fighting, they're better at strategy, or they're born lucky. And that makes sense why they're on the board more. But I do feel like now that we've established like a core group of people, it almost feels like they're now safer. Like when they're on screen, I'm not as particularly worried about them as I was at the end of the first season when Ned died. Because I was like, oh my god, he was integral to the whole plot of the first season, you know, like he was quite literally like, yeah. So essentially, and I feel like I feel like we're getting a little bit less of that intense shock factor, you know. Maybe not even shock factor, but I almost feel like the stakes now are a little bit lower for the cast we care about more. Does that make sense? Like I almost feel like now, obviously you can't just kill every main character and then just get a brand new set of main characters, right? There's got to be some consistency there, but I do feel almost like the stakes don't feel as high for me, maybe. And maybe I'm just binging, or I don't know. But that's kind of almost how I feel like on screen now. I'm a little bit less worried. Like for example, um, prime example. This is season 3, not season 2, but whatever. Arya Gendry, I believe is his name, and then the fat kid. They just got questioned by the Brotherhood. Okay, the Brotherhood came forward, like they found him in the woods. Basically, they tried to hide, and then they were like, "Yo, we're not gonna hurt you." But I'm sitting here, and I'm like, not worried about Arya. She's the main character. You know what I mean? Like I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I'm not worried about her. Like she's not gonna die. This is gonna move the plot forward a little bit more. So I think, unfortunately, I did get it kind of spoiled that she doesn't die for a while at least. Like I think she's still in season 7 alive, is what I was told, which is unfortunate. Because I don't really want to be spoiled at all. So that's a little unlucky, I suppose, but for the most part, like I'm really enjoying it. I don't know, maybe that intenseness isn't quite there anymore because these people I feel like are a bit safer. Like it would have been really, really interesting and I think really intense. Like for example, kind of describe what I mean. The queen was gonna kill herself in that siege because she didn't know what was waiting for her on the other side of that door. And so to me, I thought it would have been a really powerful scene if she did not know that that was her dad coming to save her. And it would have been, I think, way more intense for her to have drinking the potion and killed herself for the reveal to be that her dad was there and not Stannis Baratheon. Uh, I also don't particularly, another big kind of writing critique I have maybe is I don't love that magic is being downplayed, right? Obviously dragons existed. We understand that magical elements exist in this world. But what I don't particularly like is quite literally in the episode I just watched, Jon Snow up at the north. I'm going to get to the north in a second as my last little bit here. But Jon Snow up in the north first encounters a warg, whatever, the people who can see through animal eyes type of sorcery, encounters the wog, whatever, like, I'm not even kidding, 15 minutes before Bran is said to be one. Right? And they've been setting up those hints up until this point. I know, I'm aware, it's not like they just pulled him being a thing out of his ass. But what I will say is frustrating is that they didn't give any kind of name to it until that scene. And then that scene hits, and immediately now Bran is in the company of someone who not only knows what that is, but is one himself. And for me, it's like, okay, that's very clearly like just a setup to be able to explain what's going on with Bran without, I feel like, having some deeper, more interconnected, or like a better way to bring that out into the story other than Jon is up in the north. We're like, oh, so people can do that now, and then all of a sudden it cuts back to Bran, and Bran is now in the present company of someone who's like, yeah, you can do that now, by the way, and you can see past events, and you can see future events. It's like, all right, like, oh, that's my chair. All right, like, I guess that's just how that works. I don't know. So that might be my biggest complaint. It's the same complaint that carried from Daenerys and her dragons. In season 2, I didn't complain about this, but that weird red lady with Stannis giving birth to a ghost that killed Renly, glossed over that. Not brought up once again, by the way, since. So maybe that's a little, like, that might be my biggest frustration is the way that they're dealing with sorcery in the world. Like, it's there, it's present. Doesn't happen very often. When it does happen, it's treated like commonplace and normal. I feel like it wasn't set up to be. So maybe that's that might be my big, like, real complaint is I don't like that. But yeah, that might be it for my rant session. Overall though, I do still really like it. I think season 2 really did kind of captivate me, and I was really excited to see that seed. It was cool. Like that was a really, really cool like 5 or 6 episodes. It was so ominous. The music was great. The acting is phenomenal. And the way they did some of the scenes and tone shifts with certain characters is really impressive. Like Joffrey, I hate like I hate him as a character, but that actor plays him so well. He does such a good job with his mannerisms where like in one scene he like legitimately like looks like happy and go lucky, and the way that the music and the camera and his facial expression shift into someone who's like psychotic is so impressive. It's impressive. So I think all the deliveries are done really well by almost the entire cast. I think everyone does a really great job of portraying who they're supposed to portray. Like it's all awesome. The actors are great, music's great, directing is awesome. It's just I think the way they handle magic kind of frustrates me. Yeah, that was a lot more. I thought this was gonna be like 10 minutes of ranting, but I guess I just like to talk. But I'm excited to review season 3. So that's about it. See ya.